VRChat is, if not one of the biggest virtual reality social platforms that people can access from different sources of hardware. I'm sure that if you have been around on the internet for some time, you definitely heard of it before or played it once. Maybe even actively, as many of my viewers do. VRChat has been growing its community daily, reaching up to over 100,000 players on peak, but what if VRChat dies, like its social platform predecessors? What if VRChat is losing player base over time to the point it became a dead game? This is a topic that we have to talk about. We will be comparing VRChat to other social platforms, the day VRChat almost died, and why, in my opinion, VRChat has a good chance of actually succeeding as an active social platform for the foreseeable future. We all know that VRChat was not the first social platform to become this big as it is right now. Notable platforms to mention are, for example, Second Life or Habbo Hotel, which are still classics for online users. I think it's pretty fair to say that VRChat's predecessors had a huge impact in what VRChat itself is gonna develop into and what it should be. Look back at Second Life, for example. Its player base peaked in 2009 at 80,000 concurrent players, which was quite a big thing back then. But comparing it to the data we have from 2025 now, it only gets an average of 36,500 concurrent players. Stable and steady, but definitely less than it was before. But we can for sure say its community is not dead. It shrinked. Let's see the Habbo Hotel statistics in comparison to get a better overview on what we could guess for VRChat 2. Habbo Hotel also peaked just like Second Life at around 2009 or 2010 and slowly falls off to an average player count of 6,000 concurrent players. Now, comparing that to 10 to 15 years ago, Habbo Hotel was huge. Now, should we be scared that VRChat will, like its predecessors Second Life and Habbo Hotel, shrink to the size that we could call dead or dying? Well, looking at the VRChat's current statistics, definitely not. VRChat has been steadily growing, seeing this on the Steam chart statistics, but this doesn't even include the Quest players. On the other statistic that we have here, VRChat is peaking every day to an amount of more than 100,000 concurrent players, which is huge for a social platform like VRChat. So what could be the reasons for other platforms dying while VRChat is growing pretty steady each year? There are so many factors to name, like better competition or overall accessibility, but a good point is community and immersion, which VRChat gives you plenty of. But we might have to live with the fact that VRChat is not gonna last forever. Nothing does. There will be a day where VRChat might just not be the same, which is the perfect way to enter our next segment. You guys remember 25th of July 2022 when VRChat suddenly, completely out of nowhere, announced a security update which introduced easy entry to the platform?
Expect the announcement has sent the community into an uproar, with Twitter, Discord and other social platforms exploding with complaints.
The outrage of the community was enormous, so much that a good part of VRChat's player base was looking for alternatives like Neos VR or Chillout VR. Some call this the day that VRChat dies, which as we know was fortunately not the day. But developer decisions can decide the way a game will be in the future, player-wise. If it wasn't for the fast implementations of the quality of life updates and the slowly better fixes to VRChat, we might have seen VRChat in a different light now. I personally don't think that VRChat is gonna die anytime soon or lose a good amount of its player base. I simply don't, but I can't base this video on my opinion alone. So I asked a couple of friends about their thoughts on this topic, specifically the idea of VRChat dying. Feliai! Hey, Kaerun! Gomme! What would you do if VRChat died tomorrow?
I would probably just look for a different place to hang out with my friends. Yeah, see, the main thing here that keeps me in VRChat is just content creation. So I would try and find a game that just allows to create stuff as well.
No. That would be a big problem, right? I wonder what I should do. Well, I think I would probably move over to another platform. So maybe something like Cluster, but there's a couple of upcoming platforms as well that look very interesting for VR. I mean, we all got a taste for VR, and you know.
Well, I wouldn't mind that much personally, as I don't really hop on VRChat that often anymore. But like, if we're to say like everyone would switch to like other games like Chill Out VR, I would probably do the same.
Probably like an alternative like platform. Do you think VRChat will die in the next 5 to 10 years, or what is your guess on?
I don't think it will die anytime soon, but maybe in like a decade or so. It might be dead, yeah. I mean, looking at like big companies at the moment, like Discord and stuff, it just stuff goes wrong. They focus on money too much, and what this game kind of did recently, I don't know. It might be the same, just too focused on making money.
I think, well, not really. I think VRChat will actually probably evolve into something else we might not recognize as it is today. VR as a platform itself is constantly evolving with, new headsets, new technologies.
5-10 years, hard to say. It's a long time. I can't really say for sure, but definitely not in the next few years. Because like VR is still really popular, and like which in turn keeps VRChat's popularity high.
What keeps you in VRChat, Feli?
Well, as I said earlier, it's usually just content creation and just hanging out with my friends in the evenings, hanging out in publics, and also like game worlds, like Terrors of Nowhere usually, kind of what I play. And yeah, that's kind of all. Just either playing games or just messing in publics.
Well, it's mostly people like you. And also, yeah. Well, I got inspired by a lot of really creative people in VRChat, artists, musicians, world builders, you name them. And there's so much really cool stuff to see. And I think that is ultimately what keeps me in this place.
It's mostly my friends, because I personally don't hop on VRChat quite often anymore, as I said. But whenever I see like a friend online, or they like text me on Discord, or you want to play, I usually always hop on.
Would you say you're more in private lobbies, like private instances, or are you more in public lobbies or instances?
I'm rather in public lobbies. I only go in privates if it's playing with like a certain friend, which it really depends on the people I hang out with. And me personally, I'm just rather in publics, just messing around, and yeah, observing the chaos in publics.
Well, I actually do prefer private lobbies, mainly because there's a little bit of a lack of moderation still in VRChat. I think I told it in another interview. Like, my first experience with VRChat was Black Cat, and I immediately uninstalled VRChat after that. Like,
in my case, it really depends on like what I'm doing. If I'm like with friends, we're like a friend group, like Audience Anarchy. We're like in invite-only instances, because we don't want any random people to join. But like if I'm like world hopping with friends and we just like want to explore, we usually go in public instances to like meet new people.
Feli, that's the end of the interview. Thank you so much. Kaerun, that's the end of the interview.
yeah, woohoo!
Yeah!
Good job.
Let me mention something really quick. I know that most of my viewership is playing VRChat almost on a daily basis, so it's not unlikely that most of you are in a private world. I don't think I have to explain why. Okay, I do. Public lobbies full of crashers, children, weird people, oversensitive mods. The list goes on and on. Now this actually has an impact on how we perceive the platform on the world page. More than 30% of VRChat's users actually stay in a private world lobby due to the named reasons before. So with all this being said, and with all the research we did for this video, can we go to the conclusion that VRChat will die? Yes and no. Not yet, at least. VRChat has a huge and loyal community, still growing each year, breaking player count records every New Year's Eve and growing to a very known and substantial social platform. VRChat is what you make it out to be, a place where you can create anything, everywhere and anytime. This kind of freedom is what will stick with many users and newcomers, to say the least. It's the freedom that we have as players, users and creators to create, play and develop. VRChat is not just a social platform, it is the social platform, known what you can do here. Immersion is also a huge point to mention, and of course, VRChat is a meme machine.
You do not know the way. Do you know the way?
Just two anime girls being dudes, just being guys. Where's the nearest garbage can?
Subscribe to this channel.